How to store almond butter. Is almond butter the same as peanut butter in terms of storage? Can it be kept out of the fridge? In this video, we'll explain the best ways to store almond butter to make it last longer. How to store almond butter. Almond butter is very similar to peanut butter when it comes to storage. While it's in a sealed jar, it can be kept at room temperature in a cool, dark, and dry place, like a pantry. A sealed jar of almond butter can last up to 6 months at room temperature, as long as the recommended conditions are maintained. This applies even to natural, homemade almond butter that doesn't contain preservatives. However, always check the label, as its shelf life may vary depending on how it was made. An open jar of almond butter can be kept at room temperature, and the shelf life remains the same, 6 months. But be aware, there is always a risk of almond butter turning rancid at room temperature. This is why some manufacturers recommend refrigerating it after opening. In the fridge, it can last around 9 months. Unopened, it can last almost 12 months. If where you live isn't too hot, there's no need to keep it in the fridge. The downside of refrigerating almond butter is that it will harden, making it difficult to spread on toast and bread. For this reason, we don't recommend refrigerating it unless you live in a very hot climate. If you do refrigerate it, leave it at room temperature for about 10 minutes before using it, so it softens a bit and becomes easier to stir. Is it normal for the oil to separate? It is normal for the oil in almond butter to separate from the paste, just like with peanut butter. Don't throw it away if this happens. Just use a knife to stir it thoroughly until it becomes smooth and uniform again. Can you freeze almond butter? Some people freeze almond butter to use in desserts later, but freezing isn't generally recommended because it already lasts a long time at room temperature. If you want to try freezing a portion, you can make individual layers wrapped in plastic wrap, let them harden, and use the frozen portions later. How to know if it has gone bad. Almond butter doesn't spoil easily. What may happen is that it becomes rancid, which you'll quickly notice by a strong paint-like smell and a rancid taste. Also, check for black or brown spots on the surface, as these could be mold. Do not eat it if mold is present, as it can be dangerous to your health. Discard it immediately. Light, air, humidity, bacteria, and heat can make the oil in almond butter go rancid, so it should always be stored away from sunlight.